Boy, I just put one of these exhaust fan covers on. It kicked my butt. It took me, oh, I don't know, about 10 tries because this wire needed to be rebent and adjusted. On this one here, it was all flopping around and I kept bending it and back and forth I went. And it's where a washer and dryer is. And that one just happens to be connected to this light. So every time you turn the light on, the exhaust fan comes on. That's kind of good. Okay, I don't know how yours is, but that's just how they happen to do this one. And that one's kind of rumbling. You hear it kind of rumble? Well, the innards and stuff is 15 years old. Later on down the road, if I want to take that innards out and maybe replace the motor, I can. I don't have to rip out the entire exhaust fan and try to reinstall a new one. In fact, lots of times another exhaust fan may be a slightly different size, and if you can't get up in the attic and stuff, you know, it's kind of a pain. So you always want to try to take the innards out and then see if you can't remove the motor and do all that. But that's actually not what this video is about. And if yours is fitting sloppy, by the way, just rebend this wire out wider or tilt this. Sometimes this is just one angle. Well, this one happens to go up and then over like that. And I think that's just the way they made it. But anyways, you can bend those out wider in case yours is flopping around. You can get it tighter. But what is this video about? Ah, yes, it's about the smoke alarm. I took the smoke alarms down when I painted the ceilings. It's always a good idea. Before you paint a ceiling, just take the smoke alarm down instead of masking around it and stuff. That way I got the roller right up in there. I didn't have to cut in around it and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I just left the harness, the wire harness in there. And I turned the power off. I'm going to turn the power off right now. Sometimes you can do this hot if you want. You pull that apart and leave the power on as long as you're careful with it. But I really would recommend you turning the power off before you work on these. When you take them down, when you put them back up. Now this isn't all about how to install one from scratch. It's just how to reinstall this. How to reinstall this here. See this, the three little prongs. See those three prongs? And sometimes, believe it or not, if you're not paying attention, you might not get all three prongs plugged in there properly and thinking you have it, and then it doesn't go on. Gotta make sure you put those on. If you want to watch me put this in fact, I got another one downstairs to do too. They don't really take very long to put back up right on there, okay? Stick around, I'll show you. Okay, I'm trying to squeeze by you here. I've got the power off, and that housing I'm going to click on here, but the first thing I have to do is put this backing cover on. And the funny thing is, see this little harness here? I know they replaced these smoke alarms once upon a time, because see that? Look at that. This is the old harness from the old smoke alarm, and then when they went to reinstall the new smoke alarm, they simply poked the wires right up in where the other wires are. I didn't really know you could do that, and it seems to be fine, and I'm going to leave it. If you don't want to do that, usually what I do is I take the old harness out. I'll pull it down, take the wire nuts off, and then reinstall it and all that kind of stuff. You know, I really don't understand why they did that, but it seems to work. Okay, so the mounting screws, I left them up there, and then you simply put it up there and twist it on. See, that's it, and just tighten it up. And I just make them snug. And I do it with the hand screwdriver. I don't like using my power screwdriver up here. I'm just going to make it snug. You want it tight enough so it's not going to move around when you twist this thing on there, but not so tight that it sucks this up really super far. Okay. And I got to be mindful of where those are. And so I'm going to have to reposition my ladder just to make sure I got all these prongs in there properly. Okay. Make sure it snaps. There's a definite snap on there. And this one, I just have to find a happy medium where I can push it all the way up tight, and then I'm going to turn it righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. There. And you know what? When I did that, my trim moved, and I just want to see if I can get this back off. There. There's a little side goodie here that you can slide. I'm going to pull this back off. I'm going to pull it back off. There's a little deal here. When you want to loosen it, you got to kind of press that in. And I'm just going to tighten this up just a hair more. Because when I twisted that, it wanted to slide. You saw? Okay. So I'm going to just make this a little tighter. All right. I think that's going to work fine. And the other thing on this too, let's talk about this smoke alarm before I put it up there, because I think I'm going to write the date on it. I know this smoke alarm has been installed after the old smoke alarm, and I know this condo is 15 years old, and this particular type of smoke alarm has lithium batteries in there. Once you tighten it and click it the first time, the battery activates automatically and you can never shut it off. And it's supposed to be designed to stay on for 10 years. If you take this off to repaint, this little green light's going to stay on pretty much the whole time. And see, well, I just saw it flash because there's a battery, the lithium battery's in here. This will go on for 10 years. And see, when you install one of these, see there, it says replace by, and then you're supposed to put in your own date. Now, sometimes they have installed on and then replace by. This one only has replace by. And so I'm going to put a date on there because I happen to think that I'm not going to remember years down the road when I think I should replace this. Now, most smoke alarm batteries and smoke alarms most smoke alarm bodies, let's say, this whole thing should be replaced every 10 years. Did you know that? The manufacturer suggests, and I believe they recommend, you replace the whole smoke alarm, even if the smoke alarm is still working. Okay? And so, I know this condo was built in 2005, and it's 2021 now. And so the old smoke alarms probably got replaced 10 years in, so probably about 5 years ago. This is the first part of 2021, so about 5 years ago they probably installed these. That's what I'm going to make the educated guess. This smoke alarm right here is about 5 years old. Okay, so I'm going to put a date on here, replaced by, I might put March of 21. I'll put 3/21 on there before I put it up. And then I'll just remember, I'm only going to do that on this one here. I don't necessarily have to get up on a big old tall ladder to date the other ones. In fact, look at this one. Look at this one up here. Way up there. See it? Way up there. It's about, I don't know, 14 feet up. You can't get to it unless you're on an extension ladder. That's kind of crappy. Why would they do that? I mean, if it was me, I would have installed that down on the wall maybe, or move it downhill a little bit so that you could get to it with an 8-foot ladder easily. Maybe put it on that sidewall facing that way and about 3 feet down on that wall. That would have been plenty, you know. Instead they stuck it way up high. And then in the bedroom, here's the master bedroom. This is just a little condo, believe it or not. Hey, it's not Christmas. Mommy just likes to have a Christmas tree on, and it's quite soothing, actually. See that one? Way up there. You got to get up on that ledge and then stand there tippy-toe and get up there and all that good stuff. You know, they could have put it on the sidewall down a little bit so that you could just get up on an 8-foot ladder, reach over, and voila. But they didn't. And so I'm not gonna get up there. I'm gonna have to reset these smoke alarms after I turn these other ones on. Did you know each time you mess around with the smoke alarm, you're supposed to reset everything when you turn the breaker back on? I believe when you turn the breaker on, you're supposed to reset all of the smoke alarms that you have because you've turned the power off. And so now you've got to reset it. Not only do you have to reset the one that you're installing, then it's recommended that you reset all of the existing ones that you have, because if you don't reset it, maybe, possibly, your smoke alarm will not go off when it's supposed to go off. Okay? Very important point. Remember that. Okay, so I'm gonna date this, and then I'll be right back to you. We'll pop that back up there again. Okay. I didn't get it. I didn't write it very well, but I'll know that in the year 2025, I got to replace that. And if you want, where the date is, you can put the date and this stamp facing the door or something like that if you want. When you get it back up here. Make sure I get this right. Okay. There we go. I'm going to hold it right there, turn it to the right. And then I can hear it kind of click in. Now, when you do a brand new one, that clicks in and then it starts the battery. Well, this battery has already been started before, so it did not click in, but I'm pretty sure it's going to work. I'm gonna put in another one downstairs from repainting. I just hadn't done it yet, and so I'll show you that one very quickly. Then I'm going to turn the breaker back on. I'm going to turn the breaker back on, and then I'm going to retest all of these. You might want to see that if you've never tested your smoke alarms before, and I've got a few more important things to say after that, so you might want to watch the rest of this video.